Okay, I just had a napping session with some material that somebody gave me that I can't figure out what it is. I broke it a couple times, broke the barbs off. Some little annoying step fractures. I don't know if it's a heat treat or a fine-grained basalt or something similar. It's excellent material, but it spoils you. You know, it wants to thin down a lot, but then it'll snap. Okay, so I'll make something else out of it. I'm not going to be able to make anything with barbs out of it because it just pops those barbs off way too easy. Okay, so that's later on. I got to figure out what to do. I got to do some things today and tomorrow because I'm not sure how much time this week I'll have to prepare for the next auction. So what I'm thinking is just working a bunch of preforms, working some brokes and stuff, try to get a bunch of these things finished. And if you're just tuning in, I have an auction going on. It's going to end at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get your bids in early. Because I'll start looking at the bids at around 9, maybe a little bit before, like a few minutes before. So by the time I open up YouTube and all that, it'll be 9 o'clock. I'll start looking through all the comments and I'll write down in my notes who's got the highest bid. And then I'll just write sold or type in sold as a response. Now, if you wait till the last minute and I'm going through and looking at the comments, they might not show up for me when I'm looking through, so you'll miss your chance because I'll say sold to someone else that's just below yours, just below your bid or whatever. So try not to wait till the last minute. You can if you want, of course, but that's how it goes on. I can't look at all of them at the same time like eBay. It's a machine, so it looks at all the bids at the same time if it all ends at the same time, and it'll be able to look at each individually simultaneously. I can't look at them simultaneously. Okay, so I am going to do a few vids here. I'm looking for larger pieces. Break down the larger ones first and then use the small little flakes for other things. I want to use this novaculite for something. Let me know if there's large novaculite artifacts. I can't remember seeing any large novaculite, heat-treated novaculite artifacts, although there might be. So if you know of any, let me know, and then I'll try to make one out of that piece. Yeah, I need to work these preforms. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I just got to pick a good one here. I'm trying to make a Castroville. It's one of the most difficult points for me to make, and I don't know why. I think it's because of the way that the notches are done. I always seem to break off the barbs. The notches are going in almost straight on a Castroville. Yeah, it's the same old tan shirt. And for some reason, I always snap a barb off. Still the same tan shirt. I need to work a different material just for variety. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, I could work this piece. A lot of times when I break an important piece, or I get down to a situation like this where I have to rethink my strategy, I'll just not nap the rest of the day. This is all aluminum metal marks to get rid of some of those step fractures, because this will allow you to thin it when it's thin, but then you never know. You start to push the envelope, start to go too far with it, and it's going to stall, get steppy, and then you're going to end up with something like that. So that really put a damper on my day. Okay, let's see. And the fact that it's getting really cold, my feet are cold, doesn't help. Let me see. Okay. So anyway, I gotta get some points done for the next auction. These auctions are going pretty good. People have been asking me to sell my stuff forever. So here you go. I gotta put up some better thumbnails on the next auction. I just did these thumbnails very quickly. Not very high quality photography at all. Okay. So this is a root beer type chert. As I'm napping it, I might be able to tell if it's heat treated or not. I might be able to. It feels raw. Just because it's hard. These edges are hard, you know. Stiff edges. Although sometimes you get stiff edges with heat treat, if it's, you know, lightly heat treated, or if it's just the nature of the material. Starting from a preform is much easier. Or, yeah, if you need to do a lot of production work, so much faster. I know some guys like to start from scratch, like from a spall. I kind of do as well, but if a time is an issue, I will start with preforms. Get it thinned down to the point where I just need to shape it a little bit, and then maybe do some final thinning later. I'll take care of the major issues at the beginning if I can. Yeah, it doesn't really matter if I leave the original flake on it. It'll still sell if I decide to sell it. It just won't sell for as much as a fancy one with flaking on all sides, fully flaked. But it doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't break. I'm okay with it. Okay. So I was talking about stuff as I was doing this one on video. I did do this one on video. I just messed it up. So I deleted the video. So what was I talking about? I was talking about some issues with ratios and how to judge the edges. I get questions about how to make edges on these. how much do you need to grind it and all that, and also what works best, what material, copper, steel, aluminum, what's the best stuff. And I tried to answer it in that last video that I deleted. The experience is a lot more important than the material. I guess that's all I can tell you. I don't know what works best, because you as you're using different materials, your mind makes the adjustment. It adjusts to the new material. Now, I suspect that sometimes that's not true with some people. They won't adjust. For some reason, they'll use a type of material and their brain just won't adjust to it. If that's the case, then the best is going to be dependent on you. I can't tell you what's the best. If the case is that you can't use a certain material because you just can't get your mind around it, and you say, you know what, aluminum isn't working. I mean, should I ask him what the best material is? Because if it's not working for me, that means there must be another material that's better. Right? Right. Well, it does depend on you whether you can handle or get your mind wrapped around the material or not. I think aluminum works really well, but some guys just can't use it. I think steel works really well, and some guys can't use it. Copper works really well. Some guys, they like antler better than copper. Or they don't like copper because they have to keep hardening it. They can't find a hard copper, so they switch over to steel. I mean, all these things, I really can't tell you what the best material is. Final answer for tools. Then they turn around, well, what's your favorite then? Maybe they can come in at it at a different angle and ask me what my favorite is. They still want to answer to it. What's the best material? My favorite is the one that works best with the stone that I'm working on currently. How is it working the best? I mean, what determines what's working the best with the current stone? Mostly, it's because of the maintenance requirements. If it's starting to really get beat up by the stone, I don't like it very much, because then I have to keep repairing the tool tips. So I'll switch to something that doesn't wear out as fast. I'll make the mental adjustment to the new material, even though it may not be easy to do. It may take a while to do the learning curve on it. I'd rather have a less aggravating session in terms of tool maintenance than the aggravation of trying to learn with the new material. Like if it's a steel, for example, sometimes steel will start bouncing off. You'll notice that the more you grind and the more you prepare these platforms and the stronger they get, the more the steel starts bouncing off. That's an example. Other metals do that too. But just as an example, steel starts bouncing off and you're getting aggravated, and switch over to aluminum, let's say, and then the aluminum tip starts to get all beaten up and dented, and you're starting to having to grind it, and it's changing its shape, and you have to adjust to the change in shape, and then you got to take more time to make the shape exactly the same as it was a few minutes ago. And you say, no, I'm going to switch back to steel, because even though it's bouncing off, I don't have to keep repairing the tip. So that's how it goes. What is my favorite in a situation like that? Whichever is working best with the material that I currently am napping. And best for me is less aggravating. Yep, I usually take the path of least resistance when napping, especially when I'm making more than one piece, or I have a lot to do. Pace myself so that it doesn't require a lot of time on each piece, or a lot of mental aggravation, right? Something like that. Now, if I think about all the times I've napped with all the different materials, I had to pick one. If I was stranded on a desert island, I had one metal, and any kind of stone, doesn't matter, any kind of situation, doesn't matter, any kind of time constraint, something that would cover any time constraint, any material, all the stuff, using all the years I've been napping to come up with one material for tools. What would I bring with me to that desert island? Okay, let's see. Seems like a simple question, right? What's your favorite material? Well, that's what I gotta think about. After all this time napping, what would I bring with me on a desert island? Or in that scenario where I have to pick one material. Let's see. Let me see. Well, first question is, can I have an unlimited amount of that one material? I mean, is there going to be an island full of it? Or is it going to be very limited? Let's just say it's very limited. I can only bring what I think would last me 5 years or something. Limited supply, not unlimited. Yeah, that changes the dynamic. If there's a limited supply, that changes things. So let me think. Probably steel. Mild steel. If I had to search through all the points that I've ever made and try to remember what would have worked well, with everything, I would probably choose mild steel. Is it my favorite on every type of material? No. Sometimes I do like using antler. Sometimes I like using copper on certain materials. Depending on what I'm doing. All right, if I'm pressure flaking a lot, I do like copper. If I'm doing a lot of percussion, I do like antler billets. If I'm doing notching, I do like steel. But it also depends on the material. Sometimes I don't like steel for notching. Sometimes I prefer a little bit softer, like copper. Antler does a good job of notching on obsidian sometimes, especially with a lot of serrations, that kind of thing. It's variable. Okay. So there you go. Hopefully that will answer it at least a little bit. Okay, let me see. I still can't tell if this is raw or heat treated. Yeah. If it's raw, it's extremely good quality. Let's see. What's next? The next stage, since it's already thinned, is I need to work on the edges to shape it, or just to get rid of all that chaotic stuff going on. So I'm going to pressure flake it so it's regularized, not so chaotic. Try not to crush it. Try not to develop these powdery areas. I'm going to try not to do that. Okay. Well, the easiest way to avoid that is just go straight down, basically. So, what else was I talking about in that last video? I went into silent mode when I started breaking it to try to get it recovered with damage control. It didn't work. I mean, I ended up not producing the deep notches that I wanted. I kept wanting to go one step further. Of course, it was on video, so a lot of times I push the envelope when I'm on video, just for grins and giggles. Yeah, not too many grins and giggles on that last one. Now, I got that piece of black, I think it's chert, right, or fine-grained basalt from a friend of mine at the last nap-in. I guess he handed it to me at the last minute and asked me maybe you can do something with it. I didn't write down the name of the material or the person that gave it to me, which is unfortunate. But I am going to make something out of one of those pieces on video. Maybe you guys can figure it out by looking at it. Anyway, I have some time tonight to do this video before the auction's over. I'm going to try to get more than one in here during that time, but I might not be able to. Alright, so I can try to pressure flake. Let's see how far these will run, how far I can get them to run. Some guys can get these to run pretty far. Let's see. I haven't really perfected my technique. As you guys know, if you've been watching the channel. Yeah. To get these to run, I had to apply a lot of pressure. And I tend to not do that when I've got a lot to do, because I get the napper's cramp. I don't want to get that at the start of the night. This is not too bad. These are running pretty good. This material is awesome. Yeah. Pretty good. But that's as far as they go, right? I don't think I can get to the middle from here. I can shoot flakes across maybe an inch down from the tip or something. If I want to go further, I'll have to use indirect percussion, or I'll just leave it. Leave the original flake scar or flake surface in place. Yeah. That one didn't go anywhere. It's just a step fracture. Okay. So what do you make out of this kind of stuff? You guys can request points and stuff if you want. I know I got a lot of requests for... Well, I got a lot of requests the other day for Cahokia stuff. What else? There was something else. See, I can't do that with pressure. I can't anyway. Some people can. Some people can. Ouch. Yeah, better. I was afraid I was going to have the step there forever. Step fracturing. Yeah, I think this is raw stone. Nice and translucent. This should work rather nicely. I could just not push my luck, right, and just leave it. Leave that original surface. The flakes are running nicely on this. Here we go. I think I'm just going to leave it. I could run that ridge right there. Right there. But I don't feel like it. Yeah, I know it'll run. See, that one ran pretty good. I know I can probably get it. But I was doing that same mentality on that last piece, and it really got me ticked off. Just when I thought I was making some progress, nope, it didn't work. So I'll just leave it. Better imperfect than broken. Okay. There's a bunch of styles I can make from this. Let me think here. Well, I'll think about it and do it on the next segment. How's that? I'm already at 30 minutes, or almost 30 minutes. Yeah. All right. Next segment.